Right here we have one of our candy canes that you can grab from nicksseasonaldecor.com. They come as peppermint sticks, but to create that classic candy cane shape, we're going to just bend it. Since it's wired, it's easy to manipulate. The next step involves one of the dollar store scarves. They have them in all colors, and we grabbed the classic Santa version. What we're going to do, since these have an open middle, we're going to just take that and feed it through the candy cane, like that. And then what we can begin doing is pulling that all the way up through the candy cane. And now we have this adorable green monster hand, and we have tons of green monster products at nicksseasonaldecor.com, and these are fully posable from the fingers to the arm itself, and they do have an ornament hanging from it. I'm going to start by bending the stem a little bit so that it has the curve of the top of the candy cane, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that and feed it through the scarf until the ends somewhat line up like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to secure that zip tie to the stem of the hand and to the candy cane itself, right about here. Now I have some ribbon, and we carry it in all shapes, colors, and sizes, and we're going to create about a 4-inch loop and some tails that are about 6 to 8 inches. And we're going to do this several times until we have the desired thickness, and I also pre-cut a length of wire that we're going to use to secure this bow together. Now we're going to take that wire and secure our bow. We're going to want to make sure to twist it really tight and secure to prevent this bow from falling apart. And we'll just flip it over and tie it from behind. Now that we have our bow made, we're going to come back to our candy cane, and we're going to take that bow, and right where the fabric meets the hand, we're going to place that bow so that we're not able to differentiate the two. And once you place it there, we can begin fluffing out our bow, just separating the loops from the tails. And here is how it turned out, and I absolutely love it. It was so easy to do. We transformed an inexpensive candy cane with a dollar store scarf and one of our green monster hands and a little bit of ribbon into something really, really pretty. So I love the way this looks in my Christmas tree, and it's extremely popular. So I wanted to give a friend a Christmas gift this year, so I went to my local store and I found this adorable Grinch sign. So we're going to start by flipping it over. This sign already has a hanger up top, so we're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to take a pipe cleaner and just secure it. So when securing your pipe cleaners, make sure to twist it around the hanger to ensure that it doesn't come loose. Now we're going to work it into an evergreen wreath. These supplies you can find available at nicksseasonaldecor.com. Now that we have it secured with the pipe cleaner, I'm just going to take that pipe cleaner, feed it through all of the evergreen tips, and secure it to the metal frame. It's really important that you secure it to the metal frame and not just the pine tips, because if you do just secure it to the pine tips, the sign will begin to sag over time. So in my opinion, no wreath is complete without ornaments. So here we just have some shatterproof plastic ornaments. All we're going to do is pop off the top. So if you don't have any hot glue, here's an easy tip for you guys. Take the ornaments and just poke them right into the pine. And that'll keep them in place and prevent them from falling off. And that way, if you want to switch up this wreath or change it out for each season and holiday, all you have to do is just remove the ornaments and store them. So I have a mixture of red and green today, and we're just going to start poking them throughout. And here we have our final ornament, which we'll just place right there. So now it's time to embellish this even more with a little bit of ribbon. And here we have this really pretty ribbon from nicksseasonaldecor.com, and this one has a little bit more of a lime green. It has white, red, and that emerald green, which matches the sign really nicely. So the Grinch is almost this color. So to work in this ribbon, we're going to add a bunch of tails throughout. So I'm a firm believer that not every single wreath has to require a beautiful bow. Sometimes just through the use of some extra tails can really make a wreath stand out. So we'll just cut some pieces about 8 to 12 inches long. Then what we'll do is we'll take our ribbon, fold it in half, and dovetail. So the dovetail cut from the middle out towards the edge at an angle, and it reveals that beautiful finished edge. So all of the twists on these pine reeds are wired, so it makes it very easy to actually secure everything, whether it be flowers or like we did with the ornament, which is our first time debuting that here on Hometalk. But it does make it so much easier, especially if you want to switch things out. So if you're not confident in exact placement, by just sticking the ornaments in, you're able to remove them. Same with the ribbon. Nothing's glued on this wreath. And our final piece of ribbon will sit right here. So I think my friend is going to be really happy with this gift. I mean, I think this turned out so cute. So as I mentioned earlier, feel free to replace any of these items with anything that matches your home or your aesthetic. What we have on this wreath is a 24-inch evergreen form, a little bit of ribbon, some ornaments, and a sign, and that is it.
So you can make this wreath for about $20 to $25, which is really economical.
We're going to start with the wreath frame. Grab a metal clipper. You want to go around each one of the rings and clip off the metal. We're also going to grab some yarn. I put some cardboard down, grab some hot glue, and I'm going to grab that yarn. I'm going to tack it on there and roll it around and work your way around. Once you get all three of the same size ring put together, we are going to put them in place by putting them inside each other. But what we got to do is keep them together. So that's where the zip tie comes in. Cut off the excess, and then we're going to turn it over and do the same on the bottom. Now it's time for some fairy lights. These are perfect. What we want to do is take some hot glue on the bottom, and we're going to put the switch and glue it down there. And then what we're going to do is start wrapping it all the way around all of the arms. We got to grab a cup and maybe a little twist tie or something. I'm going to put it through my little cup. Again, I picked this up at Dollar Tree. So put that on there, and you're going to twist tie that around. I'm going to hang it outside. When night comes, look how it glows. I hope this inspired you to make your own wreath yarn ornament.
So over here I have a whole bunch of different holiday greenery, lots of different pine and berries and fun things like that. So I'm going to grab just a couple of these. So I'm just going to clip these straight off. I'm going to add some red berries for a pop of color in these because the flowers I'm going to use are just cream and bark. So we're kind of got a more neutral color scheme going on. So I'm going to take this sprig, and all I'm going to do is, this is all individually wired up on the main stem. So I'm just going to pull these off, and then I can use them all individually. And then we're going to add our wood flowers. I'm going to use, again, a mix of the cream and cream with bark. All of these have stems already on them. That's the joy of being able to work with the wires. We're just going to bend that forward so that it's forward facing instead of kind of standing upright. And you lift those up and get you an idea of what they're going to look like. Let's go get them on the door, and then you can see the full effect. Super adorable. You can go as crazy or as simple as you want with this particular tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed it.
So the first thing I want to do is roll out a big long length of it and cut it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is spray paint it white. Now I need a base, and I am using this red pot, and I'm putting a piece of cardboard on top so I have a nice flat base. I grabbed this metal pole, and I'm just going to stick this through that slit I cut all the way down into the dirt. What I want to do is weave this gutter guard on the pole, and I'm just going to continue this way, doing kind of a Z fold and making the layers a little bit narrower as I go to the top. I'm adding a little bit of hot glue to where the gutter guard touches the pole. Now it's time to decorate. I also found some cute mini ornaments, and I'm hanging these on the topiary. This topiary is going to sit on my porch this holiday season. It was so much fun to create something using non-traditional supplies.
Just start with 2 pool noodles, put some hot glue on the ends here. So join those 2 at the end just like this. Take some white duct tape, and we're gonna put this on here. So that's gonna hold it together along with the glue. I'll leave that on there. Go ahead and start at one end over here. So you take your tape, just start right there at the end, twist and tape all the way down to the end. I grabbed this tape from the Dollar Tree, and it's gonna be able to wrap the whole thing for you. Now that we've got our noodle wrapped, what we're gonna do is go back to the beginning, and we're gonna run about 2 good glue strips here of hot glue. And then what you're gonna do is right at the 6-inch mark, go ahead and squeeze this over, just like this. And we're gonna join these 2 pieces together. You've gotta hold this down while you're working on it. Run another set of glue, just like that. We're gonna continue along the whole thing, running glue, folding it over. And we're gonna do this all the way to the end. Once we get to the end, what we're gonna do is put the last bit of glue on there, and we will roll it up. You're gonna grab yourself some rubber bands. Once we get that first rubber band on, go ahead and put one more. After about 5 minutes, we can go ahead and take the rubber bands off, and it will hold. Take a pair of scissors, and right next to where the end is of the pool noodle, we're gonna go ahead and puncture it. Make like a cross. The farther in you can go, the better. Stab it in just like that. Turn it 90 degrees. Go in one more time just like that. Just fill the hole with hot glue and just put your stick right in there. Next, I went to the dollar store and grabbed a cellophane bag, and you'll stick the whole project right inside just like this. And then we're gonna bunch it up at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it in ribbon. And there it is, our final project. We made each one of these for less than $5.
I'm going to start with some white pool noodles. Have some zip ties, and I'm just going to wrap these around my railing and around my pool noodle. and I'll be ready to decorate it. I picked up this silver garland, so I'm going to tuck a white pipe cleaner underneath my zip tie and then pull it up. You see how I've done that? Wrap right around, do that around each one. I'm going to trim off my pipe cleaners, bend those ends down. I picked up 4 of these little white Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to lay these right along the side using a cable tie. I am going to tuck these right underneath my garland. I picked up these foam snowflakes at Dollar Tree, and I have my little bin full of S-pins. Add these all the way down. I want to add a little bit more silver. And here we are with our beautiful winter garland on our staircase.
I picked up a coir doormat at IKEA. These are inexpensive and so much fun to customize. The first thing I want to do is make a template, and I'm going to do that with freezer paper. I want to make sure that the shiny side is facing down toward the doormat and the paper side is facing up. Once I have the main pieces drawn out, I'm going to cut them. Using an iron on medium heat, I can just iron over this freezer paper and it's going to temporarily stick to the doormat. Just make sure that the shiny side is facing down. I'm starting with really basic craft paint and a really hard bristled stencil brush. I'm repeating the same process for Santa's beard using a white acrylic paint. Now I'm going to pull off these top little pieces here. I'm going to paint this black. The rest of this I'm going to freehand. I'm going to add the white trim of Santa's hat, some eyebrows, eyes, nose, and mouth. I have made a number of doormats using this technique. There is no need to seal it. This is going to hold up really well and it looks so cute.
You're going to take your large round ornament. So go ahead and use a foam brush like I'm using now with black chalk paint. You're going to take your sticker, your vinyl decal, stencil, cutout, whatever you choose. I'm going to grab a squeegee and then just make sure that my decal's nice and placed on the transfer tape. I flip it upside down to get the backing off, and then you can place it wherever you'd like. And then you can go ahead and peel the transfer tape back off. I'm just going to take some glue or Mod Podge and then just start sprinkling the glitter on like I'm doing. And that will give you that snowflake look all around your board. We're going to add some greenery at the top of your board. And if you have any red or green accent pieces you want to add, you can go ahead and do that with the greenery like I'm doing.
Okay, and here you have it. This is the finished product.
To start this project, you're going to need an outdoor candy cane. I started with an old baking sheet and I placed one of my white gloves onto the surface. Next, I'll be using Folk Art Ultra Dye. I took a paintbrush and dipped it into the Ultra Dye and then painted it onto my glove. Here's a look at the completely painted glove, and I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. So while that's drying, I'm removing the tags from the outdoor candy cane, and I've got some ribbon from the dollar store as well. I'm going to place the bottom stake onto the outdoor candy cane, and I'm going to take a little hot glue and glue the start of the ribbon to the stake and the candy cane. And then after it's set, what I'll be doing is I'll just start wrapping the ribbon around the outdoor candy cane. And I want to make sure it's nice and snug, so I'm going to pull tight each time and I'll continue wrapping. Once I get to the top of the candy cane, I'm cutting off the excess ribbon and I'm going to be adding a little bit of hot glue at the top here. Now I'll be opening the loofah scrubs, and this comes with 2. We'll be using the white one, and you could take the green one and use that for a gift if you prefer. Now I'm going to aim the rope down, and I'm going to add some hot glue into the loofah scrub, and then I'm going to stick the top of the candy cane and hold it in place until it cools. Now I need to stuff a little bit of the glove, so I'm going to add a couple cotton balls to each finger. I'm going to take a plastic garbage bag or grocery bag, and I'm going to put that in the center for the hand. Now again, you could stuff this with whatever you prefer. Now it's time to adhere the glove to the loofah. So I'm going to stick the string into the glove, and then I'm going to add some hot glue into the glove and onto the ribbon and stick it all together so it stays as one piece. Now I want to add one little extra fun tip for this, and I'm going to cut a little piece of silver ribbon, again found from the dollar store, and stick it through a red bulb. I will tie the ribbon together and create a little knot and cut off the extra ribbon. Now I'm going to add a little hot glue to the pointer finger, and I'm going to stick the knot of the ribbon onto the pointer finger as well. Then I'm going to pinch it together between the pointer finger and the thumb until it cools completely. And I hope this inspires you to create a Grinch hand of your own.